Okay, so if we are given the coordinates of a triangle and we're trying to find the coordinates of the circumcenter, first we need to figure out where the perpendicular bisectors are. So we're only going to give you triangles that have vertical and horizontal sides to find circumcenter. So for the triangles, when we're trying to find the circumcenter, one side should be a horizontal line and one side should be a vertical line. So focus on those two sides. We're going to find the perpendicular bisectors for those two sides. So if you remember, for a perpendicular bisector, our song is step 1, find the midpoint. Step 2, find the slope. I should write that. Step 1, find the midpoint. Step 2, find the slope. Step 3, use the opposite reciprocal because it's perpendicular, and the midpoint and point slope. So I'm going to find the perpendicular bisector of side MO. I'm going to find the perpendicular bisector of side LO, and then those two perpendicular bisectors should intersect at a point. That's our circumcenter. So let's find the perpendicular bisector of MO. Step 1, find the midpoint. Well, this one's pretty clear to see. If this is negative 8, 0, and this is 0, 0, the midpoint is going to be at negative 4, 0. Or add the x's, divide by 2, comma, add the y's, divide by 2, negative 8 plus 0 divided by 2 is negative 4. 0 plus 0 divided by 2 is still 0. So step 1, find the midpoint. Step 2, find the slope. Well, this is a horizontal line. If you think about hoi vux, the slope is 0. The opposite reciprocal of 0 is undefined, which makes sense. If this is a horizontal line, then our perpendicular bisector is going to be a vertical line. So the perpendicular bisector of this side is this vertical line. If it's vertical, it's x equals a number. That's its equation. This is x equals negative 4. That's the equation of that perpendicular bisector, x equals negative 4. Then we want to find the perpendicular bisector of side LO. Well, step 1, find the midpoint. We got to find the midpoint of LO. If L is at 0, 5 and O is at 0, 0, halfway would be 2.5. So our midpoint is at 0, 2.5, an average of those 2 points. If this is a vertical line, our perpendicular bisector is going to be a horizontal line. So since that side is vertical, the perpendicular bisector is going to be horizontal. And if it's a horizontal equation, it's a y equals equation. This is y equals 2.5. Oh my gosh, those 2 points or those two perpendicular bisectors are going to intersect at this point right here. That's our circumcenter. This is the circumcenter. It's where the two perpendicular bisectors intersect. Actually, there's 3 perpendicular bisectors. The circumcenter is going to be at x is negative 4 and y is 2.5. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm finding the midpoints of those two sides of the triangle, and this midpoint is the x coordinate and this midpoint is the y coordinate of that circumcenter. So I'm finding where those two perpendicular bisectors intersect. And I can double check and make sure that I did this correctly. If this indeed is the circumcenter, then this should be passing through the perpendicular bisector of side LM, which means it should go through the midpoint of side LM. Well, what's the midpoint of side LM? Add the x's, 0 plus negative 8. Add the x's, divide by 2. Add the y's, 0 plus 5. Add the y's, divide by 2. I get negative 8 over 2 is negative 4. 5 over 2 is 2.5. Oh my gosh, that's the midpoint of this side LM. Oh my gosh, that's the same coordinates as our circumcenter, so I can verify that I found the circumcenter correctly because this should be the midpoint of side LM. So just to recap, you look for the horizontal and vertical sides. If it's horizontal, the perpendicular bisector will be a vertical line. If it's vertical, the perpendicular bisector will be a horizontal line. So you're just finding those lines that pass through those midpoints of those sides, and then they're going to intersect at the circumcenter.